Anthony with Best Pest, and very nice to see you guys. And this is Yoshi, my office admin. I brought her for
Yoshi.
support so she could talk to everyone and not me. Jesus. Really, I thought there was gonna be a bunch of new agents,
Oh.
so I was gonna just kind of explain what it is that we do, which is actually really cool. So
Okay, we'll just do it anyway.
yeah, I'm going to. So, oftentimes, like in the real estate industry, they call these pest inspections.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a misnomer because we're actually wood destroying organism inspections, which says at the very top of all your reports, which would actually mitigate a lot of questions that we get every single day. Hey, why didn't you guys find the rats in my attic? Well, we're not looking for the rats in your attic. Why didn't you guys find the cockroaches at the house? Well, we're not looking for that. So, what we do is we're looking for anything that's wood destroying, which means any fungus damage, dry rot, or termites, beetles, anything that could damage the wood itself. Um, we look for conducive conditions which could lead to damage. For example, like a plumbing leak in a sub area, it could cause damage to the wood members underneath the substructure if it's just keeps on hitting the wood. Moisture and air is what causes fungus and dry rot. So we look
Like fog.
yeah, anything, any moisture and air,
I
like
mean-
literally any moisture and
I
air.
always tell everybody,
And-
you have something because we have fog and we have
Yeah.
sun.
Yes, exactly. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And we're looking for stuff like that, dirt up against the wood, sprinklers not diverted properly to the siding. So what we do exactly is we go to the home. Actually, we book the inspection. So they'll call the office and they'll speak to Jacob or Yoshi, and then we'll book the inspection and then we'll figure out who's in the area. We have myself, and then there's three inspectors. So if you guys see me at a property, you guys are pretty lucky because I'm the last one to get booked, which means I guess I'm lucky too, 'cause I get to go out and talk to people. Um, Otherwise, I'm just bothering the office people. So, um, yeah, so we determine who's going to go out there. Then when we show up, we knock on the door and introduce ourselves if there's somebody there, and then we let them know we're going to start on the exterior of the house first. So we'll map out the exterior on our field worksheet, and then we'll identify all the issues. And here's an example of what the reports look like. It has a diagram page in the front, and we determine what issues were there. In this particular property, there were subterranean termites and fungus damage, other findings in the further inspection. So when you go through the reports, it line itemizes everything. So, evidence of termites were noted in the substructure, and there was fungus and termite damage to the rim joist in the sub area, and so on and so forth. An active leak was noted in the subflooring below the sub area. So these are the things that we call out on the report to protect not only the client, but the buyers and the realtors and the sellers. We don't discriminate against who is buying or who's selling. We just report what we see. Oftentimes, you'll get some companies out there that are typically like a bigger company. For example, I'm not trying to disparage anybody, but like Home Guard, they are two entities within one. They're home inspectors and like a pest company wrapped up into one. So oftentimes you'll see some items on a pest inspection, which shouldn't be on a pest inspection. For example, like loose hand railing. Well, I don't care if the hand railing is loose. It's not wood destroying. So things are very kind of gray. But the Structural Pest Control Board in the state of California, the way we're governed is we are only allowed to report anything wood destroying or conducive. All the other stuff is kind of not valid, right? Unfortunately, some companies don't see it that way. They're just trying to drum up line items so they can make money from people, which that's not how we operate our business, at least. We report what we see and we put a fair price on to repair it. And if it's out of the scope of what we do, we won't put a price to repair it. We'll say seek proper trades or hire a roofer, hire a plumber, something of that nature. Um, in the valley, there's really two type of termites that you'll see. There's subterranean termites, which are ground dwelling termites. They come from deep down in the ground, sometimes up to 300 feet, and they forage up and down looking for food, and they build shelter tubes or mud tubes. And with the shelter tubes, they're made out of saliva, dirt, and feces. And they make these tunneling systems, and they have the correct pH for them to sustain their whole life cycle. And if they didn't have those tunnels, they wouldn't be able to really travel, right? So those are pretty easy to identify, especially if you're in a substructure or in a garage. You can see them coming up the cold joint. If you guys have not seen it, it's pretty interesting. They make really neat, elaborate castles sometimes in substructures. Um, and then there's drywood termites, which sustain their whole life cycle in the wood itself. They don't need to go down underground into they actually live inside the wood and get all the moisture that they need from the wood. And those type of termites are very specific because they leave pellets, which are their poop. But they have six concave ridges, and you can totally tell. It's typically you'll see piles. If you see evidence of drywood termites, it's not very likely that you'll actually see the termites themselves. It's very some live drywood termites, probably no less, no more than 9 times.
Wow.
The live bugs themselves. Now, that kind of changes. This is during an inspection. That kind of changes when we do the repairs. Sometimes we'll open up some wood and then we'll cut a 2x4, and then they're like, oh, wow, there's a bunch of termites in this wood. But the only time we see the evidence of those is when we can actually see the frass to identify whether or not they're there. So it's kind of tricky because drywood termites can go undetected for a number of years, because if they get inside of a wall void or something like that, they're pushing out the frass out of like a 2x4 in the wall. You're not going to see the frass unless it were to be pushed out of like the sheetrock or something like that. Sub areas you will see
They love baseboard.
baseboards, window sills, vents around the house. If it's a raised foundation, oftentimes see piles of frass inside the vents. But those are a little bit more tricky to identify. It's because it's very specific. With the subterranean termite treatment, the ground dwelling termites, it's a fairly straightforward answer to fix those. What we do is we spray the termiticide and make a barrier. It's a non-repellent termiticide. So what that means is termites will go through that undetected, take it back to the colony. They feed it to special insects, and they have to use this process called trophallaxis, which is basically they puke in each other's mouths to pass on the microorganism inside their body, which is called the protozoa, that helps them digest the cellulose, the wood. So happens with both species of termites. It is pretty gross, but adult termites have to pass this down to the alates, the termites that are coming up, the up and comer termites, so that way they're able to digest the cellulose. Drywood termites are the primary recommendation for all drywood termites will always be fumigation, because the state of California and the Structural Pest Control Board says that we have to primarily recommend fumigation. Now, that's 100% kill method. There are times where we might have an exposed studded garage, and then we see some evidence of some drywood termite frass in that garage, and we can recommend the primary recommendation, but also option two is to do a local treat, which realistically means we'll cut out the wood, make sure that the galleries is what they eat. And if you were to cut a 2x4 in half, you could see a bunch of galleries. And then as long as those galleries don't exist past the wood that we're trying to replace, we'll adjacently treat the wood members to make sure that we're covered. So that way it'll treat the drywood termites as well.
So I had a client want to use orange oil.
Yeah. So
They came back.
right. It's a desiccant. So when people ask me, hey, I have termites in my tree, I have termites on my fence line. I say, well, we're not looking at trees and fence lines. We're looking at structures. It's not, I wouldn't say legal. It's not,
Customary.
it's not, it's a gray, yeah. So I won't treat trees or fences unless it's right up against the house. Now that could lead to, but it's not, I'm not going to replace the whole fence. I would just recommend putting some flashing, replacing that wood, locally treating that area. That's responsible.
Mhm.
I've seen companies bid to replace fences, which it's not in accordance with the structural pest control board. And we, we as operators, that's my position and within my company. Um, my title from the state of California is an operator. So my operator's license is like, allows me to do business basically. And then below that's my field reps who are inspectors. So prior to being an operator, you have to be a field rep. And then I have an applicator that does termite treatments like that. But in order for me to stay in accordance with the state and not get complaints and get sued by people, and then the board wants to shut my license off, we have to make sure that we're very intentional about the way we write our reports and how we report things, because everything that we do goes to the state of California and is recorded, um, which Yoshi sends off. What is it?
What?
The WDO reporting. So the wood destroying organisms you send out once a week or something like that?
Every other week.
Okay. So, and then it's recorded with the state. So if the,
All your pest reports get reported with the state?
yes.
Good
Well,
to know.
to be fair, they don't have the content of our reports. They have the addresses that we've been to. They don't ask us for the files. They ask us for the addresses, because if a client or a consumer or a different pest company were to call and say, hey, I've seen a tag from Best Pest, because every inspection that we do, we have to post a tag that says do not remove, that we've been here. This is the date we've been here. If we've treated it, we put the chemical name and the date that we've treated it. In order for us to be in accordance with the state, you have to file with the WDO. Now, there's companies out there that, even in the valley, that I'm not going to mention, but they don't file with the state. So once in a while, I have to go on a second opinion. Say Joe Schmo goes out there and they said, hey, they called termites under this property. Then we go out there and say, well, it shows here by this company who's treated it already that this is old evidence of termites. So I'm not going to call termites because they're not here. Now, unless there was active tubes or something, like if the treatment wasn't done properly, we feel like, it's at our discretion where we would maybe call to treat it. But what happens is we'll get second opinions or calls from people who are concerned. Hey, I don't know that this is accurate. Would you guys mind going out there? So we go out there and we determine that there's nothing there. We'll call the board. Well, first we'll call the company, and the company's like, no, go fly a kite. We're not giving you our report. Okay. So we call the structural pest control board and obtain a copy. Well, we don't even have any record of them going out to the property. Well, that's not good. Because now you're not in accordance with the state. It's very important to be able to have them know, in our governing body this is why it's important, because we have to have a governing body to make sure that there's people out there that aren't taking advantage of the consumers, the realtors, the whomever, right? So it is important to file with the state. And then once they do file, like we do, so we'll have a call, once in a while. And when the structural pest control board calls you, that's not ever anything that you're excited to hear. Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
they want a copy of our report. So then we send a copy, and it's typically just because they've seen our tag
Mhm.
or somebody's buying the place. And then, as a business owner, I'm nervous. I'm like, oh, somebody doing a second of it. I know that we're doing our job with ethics and integrity, so I don't get too stressed out about that. But it is it could be stressful for other companies that aren't filing, because then they get, why aren't you filing with the state? And it's important for them too, because they charge us money every time we file each report. It costs us money to file. So
How long are pest reports good for?
120 days. In contract,
4 months.
4 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Don't talk to me about days. Is that 120 days? Is it 90 days? Is it 3 months?
so
Is it?
so
We have this
that's
thing.
that's
Because it's February, so
Right.
there's only 28 days in this month, so.
so basically what
Technically 120 days.
it's 120 days. So basically what it means is that it's no longer valid in a contract, but also at if we were to have to do an inspection again, we'd have to do a new original inspection. But the inspection is really good for the day of the inspection because if we do an inspection
Yeah.
at a property and then 10 days later somebody else goes out there, well, the homeowner decides to do a bunch of repairs, like, well, I don't know what this guy's talking about.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
then we're at
Oh, don't worry, we've seen it.
Yeah.
We've seen it.
Yeah. So
Being in this business that
Yeah,
long, you see
yeah.
where you're like, why do we have 4 pest report,
Right.
termite report, they're wood destroying, whatever
Yeah.
they're called. Why do we have 4 of them, So
exactly.
I called this one out, then I fixed things, then I called this one out, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You guys.
Sometimes it becomes more of a nightmare.
Yeah, it is a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's 100% a nightmare,
Yeah.
because they'll have to be disclosed.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And which is, that's yeah, some experienced agents, I wouldn't say most, when they have a listing, sometimes what they'll do is they'll get a pre-listing inspection and then attach it to the MLS, which makes their life a lot easier. They're like, look, this is what we have, or look, we fixed this. There's a clear bill of health from Best Pest. And then, and then it's not uncommon another company owner to go out there and poke holes in something that maybe we didn't see, or just simply poke holes in something and say, oh, look, I found all this stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, but you know what you're good about is that you're good about sending your person back out. I like Matt.
Yeah.
My favorite. Sending him back out, because if I'm the listing agent,
yeah,
I'm like, hey, wait a minute, come over here, look at this, and
That's
sending
great.
him back out to say, okay, yeah, this is that, or that wasn't there when I saw that. He's good about showing pictures, and
yeah, I trained him.
there you go.
Wow.
He's the one I request, so.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
That's really good.
No, my guys are fantastic. So, they're experienced. Dave's been doing it out of my inspectors the longest besides me. Steven, second longest,
Oh,
probably.
yeah, I like
Him and Matt, probably about the same amount
It's
of time.
all of them. Now that
Matt,
I think about it.
he is great. He's great with people. He has a good personality. He has a lot of energy.
He's good with
He has a
the
lot of it.
sellers.
He's good with, yeah.
I will have to say, I mean, very rarely do I have a buyer, but he's really good with the sellers and like explaining it calmly, not like, oh my gosh, your house is falling down, you got bugs. That's how I explain it. Oh my God, you see this?
So, and that's one thing that we're different than a lot of companies because my guys aren't commission based. They're not trying to, and I do that for a reason. I don't want somebody to have their ideas skewed about what they see when they can see dollar signs
Mhm.
attached with that. So I compensate the employees, but they also get like there's a lot of benefit with my company because when they're done, they're done. I don't expect, Matt's a little bit different. He likes to just stay working on everything, but they have a lot of great benefit working for me because we're pretty chill. And she's been with me for forever. I
You
mean,
guys
she
are
was
fun
with
to follow on.
she was with me when I was at Harmon. That's where I came from. I was a
Okay.
partner at Harmon
Okay.
Pest Control. And then Bob and Mariana moved out to the Shasta and I had to babysit their son Tyler. So then that didn't last very long. And then I started Best Pests in 2018.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was with Bob and Mariana throughout our journey and then we went and started Best Pest. So I'm happy to do it. And I love connecting with realtors. I'm very lucky. I've had the pleasure of working with people for decades and I'm just here to serve. So if you guys need anything,
You want to go over the different sections?
yes, thank you. Okay, so on a report, it lays out on the second page typically what is section one.
Just to keep in.
Section one is active infestation or active damage. Section two item is conditions deemed likely to lead or conducive condition, but there is no visible evidence or damage found yet. And a further inspection kind of means we can't really see what's going on, or maybe there's dirt up against uh, an area, or there's a
Open the
floor, there's a
garage.
floor, the garage is inaccessible areas, or the sub areas flooded.
Uh-huh.
That's where a further inspection item will be. It, stall showers are kind of tricky sometimes, unless there's damage under the shower, but we see it leaking sometimes. We really can't determine if it's the pan or not. If it is the pan, it's pretty typical or obvious, but stall showers are a big pain in the butt. I don't call them section one. We don't call them section one unless there's actual damage. Otherwise, you're going to get a bill, a bid for like 11,000 bucks to fix a shower where it could be something a plumber can fix with caulking, or,
Yeah.
who knows, whatever. So that we'll call that further inspection, items. And, this is a good one on Mark Mead. We also put notes, like, for example, in this particular case, Matt went underneath the property and he determined that the subfloor was inaccessible because it's insulated. We can't see the actual subfloor and the wood. And we'll put notes in here saying that, kind of what's going on, just to give some more information. And it's not necessarily a finding. So notes are different than findings. Findings are either section 1, 2, or further inspection. And notes are just kind of giving some general details about the property. Thank you for bringing that up, because it is important to know the difference.
Well, and on certain loans, they just have to have section one.
Yeah.
Loans, you have to have section 1 and 2 completed.
And now they have this form called the MPMA 33 form, which circumvents.
Just says you,
Yeah,
doesn't have termites. I'm
exactly.
not gonna tell you anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Which kind of it kind of circumvents what the Structural Pest Control Board is doing. But now they it's not that they don't recognize it per se, but they don't say we can't do that. There was a time where the Structural Pest Control Board's standpoint was, well, you can't fill out this form because you're taking away from the Structural Pest Control Board. Well, that didn't really go so well with the people who are really pushing for it, because these veterans are sometimes don't have the means to pay for all these things, which I think is a great program. Even when it first came out, I was like, no, I'm sorry, don't fill out these forms, because the Structural Pest Control Board frowned upon it. Now they don't care. They sent an addendum out saying that, hey, we don't care if you use this or not. That's up to you and your business. We offer those forms to not only help, the
Depending on
people,
the situation.
but depending on if somebody asks for an MPMA 30 form, Best Pest is not going to say no. Now, if there's termites there, there's termites there. But
Right.
if it's helping out a veteran, and we're all about that. That's kind of what we put all of our stock into, like good things like helping people. So
And then you said you don't do management right now, but do you
we don't do general pests.
do you do clearance?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So after we provide the report, we will put a line itemized costs, which is called the work authorization contract. And every single thing that we call in a report is itemized on this work authorization contract. Now, it is up to I usually just refer to the realtor. I said, you please speak to the professional, your realtor professional, about what you should or shouldn't do. I'm not here to answer that. I'm just going to provide you a report with quotes to fix the said stuff, because it is not, and this is probably not my company, but other companies like, well, if you don't do the work with us, we're not going to clear and say, well, that's not how the law is written for us. So anybody can do these repairs, assuming that they're done correctly, and then we will sign off on it during your reinspection and fix it. Now, termites, you can't do that yourself. And if another company were to come in and do the termite portion of something that I called on my report, because maybe, the realtor knows another company, hey, I'll do it for $200 cheaper. At which point we'll direct them to that company and say, you know what, you can clear this property. It's not going to be my liability. So I don't know any companies that will say, yeah, go ahead and have somebody else treat it. We're going to come and clear this. Yeah, that's just not a common practice. But yes, we do re-inspections. And when we do the work on a property, said property, say, hey, Anthony, Best Pest we want to do this. So they'll call the office and schedule with Yoshi and Jacob. And then we'll get the work done. And then we send a notice of completion, at which point with a certification on that. So, and we do everything. We do everything that we bid on, we do. So it's not, with the people that have been working for me for 20 years are the same people that I still have. And not only that, they have their own companies as well, and they're fully licensed contractors. They're not handymen. So they work under my umbrella, under the state of California and the Structural Pest Control Board, but they're also protected by their contractor's license, which is not very common. But it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Because, it gives us the protection that the professionals I work with deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty lucky in that sense.
And then do you charge the same for re-inspections as you do for the initial inspections?
Yeah. Re-inspections, in like Modesto are $100. Let's say we go to Stockton, they're 110.
So you have a little bit of a travel fee.
Yeah.
So every single report we file, we get charged for. So any report number you'll see on these things, every single number. So we've done 19,428 inspections since I've been open, which is pretty awesome.
We've done more.
What
We've done more.
we have?
Yeah, that was from yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well, 20, so we've done 20,000. Say we've done 20,000 inspections. Which that's a lot.
Yeah.
19,000. That's what we say.
We've done one.
Yeah, also, I want to add on here, let's just say like they have termites and they have someone else that does the woodwork. If we go out there and do the termite treatment, and then you want a re-inspection for that clearance, we won't charge you to go out to re-inspect because we did do work on the property.
Oh, okay, got it. Sweet.
Oh, that's nice of us.
All right, did we have any questions? I thought I heard someone.
I was just going to ask if that MPA 30 form, if, many people use that, is that like a voucher? So it helps with the payment of the situation. I mean, do very many people use that?
So there are a few realtors that work with a lot of veterans that have really gotten, and then some lenders don't, honestly, which is surprising to me. Some lenders don't even know that there is this form. That would be my experience. I think that your colleagues could probably answer that a little bit better or speak to the lender, because this is a very helpful tool for veterans. And what it does is, instead of having to pay, having somebody have to pay for, $7,700 worth of repairs. In this instance, I mean, there's a termite treatment for $1,195, but so six grand worth of repairs versus just getting that form. And then whenever the veteran or whomever purchases the house, they could do it on their own time. I think it is a helpful tool, but I can't speak.
Regina, so veterans, they have to have a clearance for basically the termites. That's really what
For the loan, yeah.
looking for is
Yeah.
clearance for the termites. They really don't care if the toilet's loose. I mean, every freaking toilet is loose. And so this form is a way that the lenders are able to keep the loan moving forward with the veteran, because they can say, look, it doesn't have termites. Now, it may have other issues. And of course, we don't give the reports to the lenders ever. And so sometimes that accidentally gets done, and then this form is used. But it's primarily used for veterans and certifying it doesn't have termites.
Okay. That's good to know.
It's been popularized in the last 3 years. It's not, in the past, they would have to have a section 1 and 2 clearance. And I don't know who pays one. For a while, it was the buyer. For a while, it was the
Anybody
seller.
can pay, anybody can pay for repairs on a VA
Now,
clearance.
Okay.
Now,
didn't used to be.
it didn't used to be
Right.
that way, but it is now. And so, but it has to be done before the close of escrow, because it has to be done for re-inspection. So let's say that form didn't exist and there's $7,000 worth of work. You can't say, well, I'm going to give the buyer a credit, and after the close of escrow, they can go in and they can do it. It's all the work's the clearance has to be done before
Closes, yeah.
close of escrow, before loan docs.
Yeah.
And so you can't give credits for those types of things. So that's where, if I was negotiating this for a veteran, I would use have the treatment done for the termites in this situation, and then utilize that form, and then get the veteran a credit for $6,000 for the rest of the work. Or
Yeah, I was gonna
commitment from
add
the
to
seller.
that. So like this particular property, if Cindy were to say, you know, Yoshi, I need the NPMA 33 form, I would tell her, Cindy, it has subterranean termites. I can fill out that form for you and put on there that yes, it has subterranean termites, or we can go ahead and schedule the treatment,
Mhm.
do the treatment, and then I'll fill that form out for you.
Right.
Cause then it's, you know. does
Here's
not
the other
charge.
question. Will you guys do work and get paid out of escrow?
Yes.
Some companies, and do you charge us a fee for that?
No.
No, it's
You should.
whatever it is on
You
here.
should.
Most
I'm not
companies
kidding you,
will.
you should.
Yeah. If you
Well,
pay me
You should
now.
charge a premium to have it done out of escrow. Sorry, I don't mean to
Because
tell
when it
you,
falls out of business.
but you should,
falls out
because
of
it's
escrow,
easy
you're
for
out.
us to sell. It's easy for us to sell, and it's a benefit to the client. Remember that. Consider it.
Yeah, call me. You have my cell phone number. If you don't, it's on there. We don't schedule, we will not schedule a job unless it has an active escrow with a close date.
Yeah.
Now,
Which you said 60 days, I've changed that. As long as it's closed, it's within 30 to 35 days, and I won't schedule it until it's about 2 weeks prior to close, because we've had those instances
Yeah.
where it's, it falls
Yeah.
out and then no one lets us
and then,
know.
yeah,
And then I'm like, hey, it's been 30 days, I'm here to collect, and they're like, oh, we canceled.
And we're not selling.
Or, well.
yeah, then we have to
wait,
chase
you know?
around money and
Yeah.
it's terrible. And for her.
Yeah.
And then for
That's
me.
why, that's why the
Take it.
premium.
Yeah,
Take a
It's like, because you're gonna, so this one's gonna close and this one's
We
gonna
see it all
close
the
and
time.
this one's gonna close and you've collected a premium, a premium, a premium. This one doesn't close. Your premiums that you've collected helped offset.
fortunately, we've never been like, we've never not been able to collect, fortunately, because we're very intentional because at
The
Harmon.
way you fill out where you
Yeah.
have your contract
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
If this falls out, then who's responsible?
You know, and then we'll put a lien on the property if we have to. It's just, it is a nightmare to chase around money. But there's been some that fell out or the escrow's changed and the close. So we're waiting like 5 months to get paid on a really substantial job. You know, in a small
Yeah.
business, that's terrible.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's
Well,
hard.
I would encourage you to consider a premium, because it's easy for us to explain, to say to the seller, let's just say, because that's usually who's being asked to pay for it. You know, look, you could pay $7,770 out of your pocket now, or add 10% or whatever it is, and say we can put it through escrow, and it can come out of proceeds. It could be they'd be like, yeah, I'll take it out of escrow because I don't have $7,000.
Yeah.
We're getting back into those, I hate to say it, those non-equity, I won't say the words out loud.
Yeah.
The non-equity transactions.
Yeah.
I've seen 3 of them in the last 2 months.
Holy smokes. Okay, so we're getting back into that market.
Well,
Like kind of like,
short sell,
yeah.
That's not bad.
where they don't have any equity, and then there's gonna be a problem. And so, I'm not telling you how to do it at all. You're doing a
No,
fabulous job.
I
But I'm
definitely
giving you a forecast to say, make sure there's
Cover-
equity
cover your
in
butt.
the home.
No, I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, no, this is good for,
Offsets.
yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So any other questions? Oh,
Did you have any questions online?
Kimberly.
I can.
I had an appointment this morning. Sorry, Kimberly comes to me when she wants to read the pest report.
I don't think so, because they muted right after, so I think
Okay.
it was just an accident.
Yeah, any questions?
Thank you for coming.
Oh, I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you. Did you bring cards? Did you give me all the cards?
I gave her.
no.
Oh,
I have your card from
Okay.
before.
here, you want?
Perfect, yeah, and I'll,
Those? Oh, here.
we have a section where we have vendor stuff. too,
Beautiful. You
for-
want to put those over there
Yeah.
for me?
You got it.
I look forward to working with you guys if I don't
Okay,
already.
Yoshi.
Thank you.
So,
Bye, guys.